All right, so I'm back at it again. This video is going to be about manifestation in business. So manifestation, law of attraction type conversation, and the role that it plays in e-commerce, or in any business for that matter, or any endeavor that you plan on going into. So my name is Tyron Spear, done about $2.4 million in e-commerce, built a water plant in Kenya, was in the Marine Corps for 8 years, then Halliburton, Iraq, Afghanistan, and then Blackwater Security Group before I started doing Amazon, and from Amazon to Shopify, traffic from Facebook and YouTube. That's how I make my money. Also email marketing too. So, manifesting. So again, I'm a very pragmatic person. So I want things that's actionable. I think the Bible even says faith without works is dead, right? So manifesting or understanding the law of attraction, that's what pretty much got me to meditation, actually. So I was already, I'm already interested. I was already interested in meditation. I'd already been taking a fighting style called Shishukin-ryu in Okinawa, Japan. So we was already taking Shishukin-ryu along with the Marine Corps' belt training program. So shout out to my Grandmaster Leon Wright, who's also in the Black Belt Hall of Fame. Phenomenal brother, and obviously he's a wise master as well. And Michael Jai White, who's also in the Black Belt Hall of Fame, along with my Grandmaster, Leon Wright. So I was already into meditating. Well, I was already interested in meditating, and but I hadn't really done any hardcore meditating. So I was actually in Iraq, I believe, or Afghanistan. I believe I was in Iraq at the time. So I was in Iraq at the time when I had heard about this young lady who had listened to some sort of binaural beat wave music, and during her time listening to it, she was able to lose like, I think, 150 pounds. And I was like, how is that even possible? And it was like, oh, well, she tapped into her subconscious mind, and she was already, before that, she was already a model. So she had, she had gotten into a traumatic car accident. And she healed from the car accident, but while she was in, I guess, the car accident, she was traumatizing. So she gained a lot of weight because she was depressed and so on and so forth. And she wound up gaining all of this weight. So I'm gonna run in here a quick second, and I'll be right back. All right, so where was our lady? She had lost 150 pounds, and she was back down to her model weight. So I tracked this woman down, and I began to start asking her questions about what I had heard, rumored about her losing all of this weight. And she confirmed that everything that I said, everything that I had heard was actually true about her. So I was like, okay. So I asked her about the program that she was taking. She shared it with me, this whole binaural beat wave system. And she was like, what is it that you're trying to attract? And I believe this lady was Irish or something like that. And I'm very keen on people's culture and their background, because I respect different cultures and different backgrounds, because you can learn a lot from folks based on understanding their cultural perspective. So anyway, I told her, I was like, I'm just trying to attract money. I was like, so I want to attract more money in my life, get started in business, so on and so forth. So she was like, well, yeah, they have one on money as well, so you can use that one. So I was like, all right, cool. So I sit down, I go through the process, and it takes about 2 weeks to see results. It's crazy how like matter of fact that is, right? It takes about 2 weeks to see results. Like like it just sounds crazy, but that's really what it was. So in about 2 weeks, you start looking for signs and hints and all type of stuff like that. So I wind up, something happened, and the guys was like, hey, there's a guy that's leaving. He's out at this foreign site. Would you mind standing in for him for a week? You don't have to, but would you like to? And I was like, yeah. I was like, I'll go. And again, I'm listening to this audiobook, and it's like, hey, things may happen, so just kind of sort of go with it. So I was like, okay, well, this is something different. I've never even been to the site, nor has anybody even asked me to go. So boom, I get out there. So I'm out there, I'm standing around in the dark. Some people are getting off a convoy coming in from someplace, and this guy walks up to me, and it's pretty dark. Like you can barely see your hand in front of your face, but yeah. So I'm talking to this brother, and I started asking him a question I started asking everybody. You're working overseas, you're making all of this money. What do you plan on doing with the money when you get home? And so he was like, well, right now I plan on investing into water plants in Kenya. No, I'm sorry. He said, I plan on investing into trucking in Kenya. And it's interesting because I just saw a video today about Boris Kojo telling people about going back to Africa because it's the 400-year return that's taking place. So shout out to Kojo and Boris Kojo. So yeah, so 2 weeks go past. I'm out here. The guy tells me about this thing in Africa, and so I'm listening to him. I started jumping into the research, and then I wind up later on building this water plant in Africa. So that happened. Next thing you know, I get back on the whole binaural beat wave thing. I'm listening to it. It's basically like a guided meditation. I'm listening to it, seeing myself in these scenarios where fast forward to now, I'm with Blackwater, and I'm working overseas. I'm tired of working overseas. I want to come home and want to make money, more money than I'm making with Blackwater at the time. And I'm meditating every day now. I don't need the CDs at this point. Now I'm just sitting down for 30 minutes, 45 minutes, and just meditating. I know some people are like, what? I can't just sit there 45, 30 minutes. You can't right now. But as you begin to start building up that muscle, just like anything else, you'll sit there, and then as you begin to imagine yourself in these different scenarios where you're out with rich people and at horse tracks and all type of stuff like that, like I just did the other day. You're in these different scenarios. As you begin to start see yourself in these different scenarios, one thing you want to do is you actually want to feel whatever it is that you're supposed to be feeling when these things happen to you. So you want it to be a fully immersive experience. What I tend to do is I'll take let me start over a little bit. One thing you want to do is you're going to set your intention. So whatever it is that you plan on getting or having or want to manifest, you want to be clear about that. So the first thing you're going to do is pretty much write that down on a sheet of paper and keep that with you. The Bible says, write the vision and make it plain so men may read it and run. So here's your opportunity to write your vision down, so that you may read it and be guided by it day in and day out. So I wrote the vision down that I wanted to make $30,000 a month. That was my number. So, because I was making $16,500 with Blackwater, and I had been doubling my pay for a while now. So I was like, well, let me just double it and just get up out of here and then just go home. So I wrote that number down. I'm sitting down meditating, and it's around 2012, crossing over to 2013, and I'm selling vitamins on Amazon right now, but I'm not killing it or anything. And then I had this other thing sitting up over here, and I never thought anything of it. So I come out of meditation, and I'm seeing myself making money and all this type of stuff. And I hear this thought say, well, what about this other thing that you have up over here? And I was like, nah, I said I wanted to make 30,000, not, that thing is like, $5, $10. I was like, I can't do anything with that. But I humbled myself. Back to what I said about mindset and about being humble. So I humbled myself to the idea, and I was like, well, let me just work out the numbers. So I began to work out the numbers, and I was like, if I increase the price to this, I was like, ooh, I actually could do about $30,000 a month. And I already had SEO. I already had the SEO skills and everything else. I bring that up. I bring up about I already had the SEO skills. This was something that I was already doing. What I find is interesting about this whole manifestation and law of attraction thing is that it's never like anything that's like removed from you. It's always like things that's literally right there in your face. Like all of these law of attraction of these over my 10-minute mark, but all of these law of attraction and what's the law of attraction, and I forgot what the other thing is. Manifesting. All of these law of attraction manifesting things that I'm going to tell you about, these stories that I'm going to tell you about. It's crazy how the answer was literally right there in front of my face, and I didn't even either I wasn't thinking about it or it was a mental block. I don't know what the heck it was. So anyway, I sat down, broke out the numbers, and boom, I could see myself making $30,000 from doing that. I started putting in the work. The money started coming in, and the next thing you know, the contract was ending there. So I was on my way home anyway, didn't even know it. But now, because I had put these things in place, I was prepared for it. So when the ball dropped, I was good. Everybody else was running around scrambling, trying to figure out, what the next contract was gonna, how he was gonna get another contract or how he was gonna do this. And I was just ready to go home and just scale what I had already started while I was up over there. That was the first time that happened. The second time was I was trying to do something on Amazon that was going to cost me $15,000, and I didn't have $15,000 at the time. And I was like, I got this whole law of attraction manifestation tool. Let me go and grab that. So I sit down, I'm sitting down and meditating, and I was like, within the next 24 hours, I want to have this. I want to have an answer to this. I don't know what the answer is, but I know that I know what the answer is. I just don't know what the answer is. So the next day, 24 hours goes by. I'm hearing different things. I'm listening for different things, because you're supposed to be, after you put this intention out there, you're supposed to go into an expectation of it, and you make room for it. If it's a new car, you go off and you sweep off where the new car is supposed to be. If you want a certain car cover, you go out and you buy the car cover. You do these different things. If it's a Maserati, a Bentley, a Ferrari, or whatever, you go out and buy some of the accoutrements of the whole Maserati, Bentley, Lamborghini lifestyle. So you go out and get a couple of the little baubles or whatever it is that you may need, for your Lambo, Bentley, or Maserati. So the next day I'm hearing different things, and I'm driving down 75, and I hear the idea comes to the idea that pops into my head is, why don't you use what you already have? And I was like, well, I can't use what I already have. That's why I'm saying that I think I need 15,000 because of this, that, and the third. And then the next thing I hear, the next thought that pops to my head is, well, why don't you just change out the barcode? That answer sounds so simple, but that answer was simple, but I wasn't even thinking about that, because that answer took a $15,000 problem down to 20 cents. This is how powerful this is. And I'm not making these numbers up. Like, this is how powerful. And what was even crazier was I could have took all of those bottles and shipped all of those bottles off as is, and Amazon actually would have put the barcode on there for me. I didn't even have to spend the 20. I would have spent the 26 on the back end, but Amazon would have took care of that for me. Here it is. I think I got a $15,000 problem, and I don't have really a $15,000 problem. That's the power of manifestation. Another manifesting story I'll tell you is, while doing business in Africa, certain things was happening in, I'd say Africa, but while I was doing business in Kenya, certain things were happening in Kenya that was beyond my control, quote unquote. And so there was really nothing that I could really do to prevent what was happening. So I was like, there's one thing I could do. I can sit down and I can meditate and I can focus on what the end goal is that I actually want. You don't sit down and focus on problems. You sit down, you focus and meditate and see the outcome and experience the outcome as much as you can. You see it visually in your mind. You try to use all five of your senses. You're hearing things, you're smelling things, you're tasting things, you're feeling things on your skin. All of these different things to try to really, you're really using your imagination to immerse yourself in the world, in the place, or in the situation that you want to be in. And then from there, you want to start the next from that point on, you really want to act like you really want to move like that's where you are right now. So, case in point, let's just say you're like, well, okay, well, if it worked like that, Tyron, I want $1 million inside the bank. Okay, cool. You want $1 million inside the bank. Do you have a bank account? Where do you have a bank account at? What does that look like? What does that look like? What you want $1 million? What that looks like is you setting up meetings. What are you going to do once you get the $1 million? How is that money going to be moved? What does your bank do when $1 million is deposited into your account? You need to know the answer to all of those things. Since you're like, well, I want $1 billion in my account. Well, go talk to your bank and let them know, hey, I'm expecting $1 billion to be transferred into my account because I'm actually working on X, Y, and Z. Whatever it is that you're doing, it's going to come from whatever it is that you're doing right now. So if you're working at a hospital, if it's doing whatever the situation is, that's where it's going to come from. Some administrative staff from the hospital will be transferring these monies over into my account. Well, why are they transferring the monies into your account? Well, I'm in, this part of the medical field and it's about to take an upswing. So that part is actually confidential, but I just need to know, what do I need to have in place to receive this money? That's the type of work that you start doing right now. If you want a Lamborghini, if you want a Bentley or whatever type of car, whatever it is that you want, you literally start moving and acting and conducting yourself in the way of the thing that you want. Great books to read on this is Science of Getting Rich. So I like Science of Getting Rich because it's a very pragmatic book. And I'm trying to think of another book that jumps out, but I like Science of Getting Rich. Science of Getting Rich is a book, specifically chapter 6. Chapter 6 was good for me because it was just talking about using your will the right way. But Science of Getting Rich is a book that I constantly go back to. Another book is, I can't think of the title of it. But there's another good book, but it talks about understanding that you can't see around the staircase, if you will. So basically, even though you're expecting these things and you're manifesting these things, you don't know how they're going to come. The situation that happened with me in Kenya, manifesting the outcome, what I wanted to experience. A lady who I don't know walks into a bar, overhears something, tells that thing to my accountant. My accountant goes down to the Ministry of Interior. When he gets there, the real estate agent is there that actually sold me this piece of property. They get together, talk. They talk to another guy who was actually about to go and do something to the property. And then that guy says, hey, we'll just have him send me $60 and then I'll take care of the rest. I couldn't pray that. You know what I'm saying? That's just something that just had to happen. I didn't even know who the lady was that went and sat down inside a bar. I was all the way stuck in Afghanistan, and all of these things were moving and happening in Kitengela, Kenya. So that's how powerful this is, and understanding how powerful it can be in your business as well. What got me to manifestation, got me to the $1 million mark, got me to the $10,000 a day mark, got me to the $100,000 a month mark. This is how that went. I'm listening to some copywriting stuff from this high-end copywriter, and he's actually retired now. So he says the number one key, said, if I could give you anything, I would tell you to basically look within. Once you take in all of the information that you need to take in, this is his process. So for you, whatever it is you're trying to do, you want to read, consume, whatever that one specific thing, needs to be one specific thing, whatever that one specific thing is, you begin to read and consume all the information that you can. Then you sit down that night and you say, listen, I know that I was just about to say, sit down the supercomputer. I can't think of the name of it right now, but it's another book about your brain being this whole supercomputer. But anyway, he said you sit down and you tell yourself, Within 24 hours when I wake up, I want to have the answer to this. So I want to have the title for my sales copy. I want to have all 3 bullets. I want to know what the hook should be. I want to know this. I want to know that. That's what I pretty much did all week last week. We're back to the $1 million. So I did those things. I woke up and I was like, boom, here's the hooks and here's the words that we should be using. Wrap those things into a video. Boom. 7x return on Facebook ads, and then just started killing it from there. Work the law of attraction. Peace.